Four customers of a local pool company tell the News 4 Tucson investigators they each spent tens of thousands of dollars for a new pool and faced multiple delays. Now the Arizona Registrar of Contractors has taken action against the company's owner for similar complaints. News 4 Tucson's Chorus Nylander has more in tonight's investigation.
The News 4 Tucson investigators have been looking into complaints against Imperial Pools and Design for nearly 2 months. Some customers claim they are waiting longer than they expected for work to be done on their pools. The company's owner says they just aren't understanding shortages he's faced during the pandemic. But now we learned the ROC has pulled one of the owner's licenses and the company is being sold.
The whole process has been a nightmare for us.
I feel stuck between a rock and a hard place.
I would never use him again as a contractor.
Honestly, I don't believe he had any intention of ever finishing our pool.
That's how four customers feel after hiring Imperial Pools and Design and its owner Patrick Crone to install a new pool. Rochelle Predator and Catherine Savani both say they made it through the majority of their payment installments for the pool. Predator spending more than $48,000. Savani $28,000. Predator says they have been left waiting for work they paid for to be done.
So we have paid him almost the entirety of the contract. And the last payment that we paid him was for pool equipment, which we do not have. It was to do that water feature, which has not been done.
We paid that fourth installment and haven't had any work done since. And then they kind of ghosted us.
Last month, we reached out to Patrick Crone about the allegations. He did an interview with us for more than an hour, saying these are just unhappy customers not understanding delays he's facing during the pandemic.
They don't like what they hear. And that's not fair to a contractor. It doesn't matter if it's somebody doing a driveway or a guy building your house. There are delays.
Patrick provided us with Savani and Predator's contract, which includes a broad clause indicating the projects could take longer than expected due to material shortages. Heather Fordyce actually had her pool finished after what she says was a horrible experience. Then her pool equipment began to become unleveled. She says Crone refuses to fix it.
Just want it to be functional, and who knows down the road if this issue will cause a problem.
I didn't touch that deck or those drain pipes or that drain line.
Michael Wall says he spent just under $110,000 for his pool, which also was finished, but afterwards had issues with the hot tub.
Throughout the process, we had a hole for months. Then we had shotcrete, just no progression. The tile in the hot tub has been replaced 4 times, and it's disbonding again, and we're on the 5th time.
Wall took his complaint to the Register of Contractors, made it to court, but the complaint was dismissed because Imperial had done most of the work and had a valid justification for failing to perform work on the rest. But Crone now has 10 complaints filed with the ROC since 2020, and 2 were filed within the past 2 weeks. Last week, his pool and solar license was revoked by the ROC. The ROC says the revocation resulted from a 2020 investigation that found Imperial Pools and Design LLC failed to complete the project in a workmanlike manner, aided and abetted an unlicensed person, and failed to take appropriate corrective action following a written directive from the Register, all violations of Arizona revised statutes. It says the case consisted of a consolidation of 6 consumer complaints from Tucson, Vail, Oro Valley, and Sahuarita homeowners received between May and October 2020. Crone also faces $1,500 in civil penalties. In a text message to the News 4 Tucson investigators, Crone admitted to using an unlicensed contractor, adding he was the best mason he ever met and confirmed he's selling his company. He agreed to another interview following news of his revoked license, but backed out a couple hours before we were supposed to meet. Instead, he sent us a statement. In it, he says in part that the revocation of his license wasn't right because Imperial did and does good work, including masonry. He points out that Imperial still has a general contractor's license, and he intends to finish all the projects. Finally, Patrick thinks that instead of a story about Imperial, KVOA should be investigating others in Tucson's pool industry. Patrick Crone still has a general contractor's license and says he will hire other licensed contractors to finish work he's not allowed to. The ROC tells the News 4 Tucson investigators they're currently investigating possible disciplinary action against his GC license. We'll continue to follow up on this story. Investigating for you, Chorus Nylander, News 4 Tucson.